Okay, I'd like to call to order this regular council meeting of the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores. Second item is disclosure of pecuniary interest. Is there any member who has a pecuniary interest with anything on the agenda they'd like to declare? Seeing none, of course, you can do so anytime if you need to. We have no additions, deletions, or amendments. We have no public meetings. That moves us on to adoption of minutes, and I have a motion moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by the Vice Deputy Mayor, that Council adopt the minutes of the Council meeting of October 15, 2019, as presented. Questions or comments to that set of minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. That moves on to Committee of the Whole minutes of October 15, 2019. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Rich, that Council note and file the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of October 15, 2019 as presented. Questions or comments to that set of minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. That moves on to report of Committee of the Whole. And the General Government Report of October 15, 2019. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Mayette, seconded by Councillor Grace, that Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the General Government Report dated October 15, 2019, recommending that Council approve participation in the Municipal Innovation Council as a 3-year pilot project in partnership with the Nuclear Innovation Institute and additional municipal partners, and that funding be provided through the Provincial One-Time Efficiency Modernization Grant, and that if sufficient partners are unable to be secured, the MIC will be re-evaluated. Questions or comments to the resolution? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. That moves us then on to the Community Services, Parks and Recreation Report of October 15, 2019. It has been moved by Councillor Grace, seconded by Councillor Mayette, that Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Community Services, Parks and Recreation Report dated October 15, 2019, recommending the following. 1. That Council receive the responses regarding questions asked with respect to an aquatic and recreation facility proposed at the community complex. 2. That Council receives the business plan for a YMCA membership-based aquatic recreation facility within Saugeen Shores, and that staff be directed to begin developing a formal agreement for a Saugeen Shores Family YMCA, subject to YMCA Board approval. And 3, that Council supports the funding application for a YMCA for the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, Community, Culture and Recreation in the Multipurpose category, and that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to sign the application, and further that a decision regarding the site location be made at the October 28th Council meeting, and 4, that Council supports the funding application for the Lamont Sports Park for the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, Community, Culture and Recreation in the Rehabilitation and Renovation category, and that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to sign the application. Questions or comments to the resolution? No questions or comments? I would just make the comment, and just for clarity sake, that in this resolution, Council is receiving a business plan and directing staff to develop a formal agreement. So that formal agreement, this is not in effect creating a formal agreement. That step has yet to be taken and must be taken before there is an agreement. This is so what we have here is a business plan, and that work will carry on going forward. So if there's no further questions or comments, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And that moves us then on to a report of municipal officers and committees. 1, Aquatic and Recreation Facility Committee Report, October 28th, 2019. It's been moved by the Vice Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Smith, that the Council of the Town of Saugeen Shores adopts the Aquatic and Recreation Committee Report dated October 28th, 2019. Questions or comments to the resolution? The Vice Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just wanted to take a minute to thank Francis Barrick and Pat Gibbons, Herb Schmidt, this committee, and Councillor Dave Matt. The 5 of us, I think, worked well together. We looked at 3 sites, Lamont Sports Park at the south end, and then 2 private properties on the 10th concession. And we did a matrix attached to these minutes. Basically, the role of that committee was to go out and take a look at what site might be the preferred site if, in fact, the Plex was not the preferred location. So we did that, and I thought the committee did it well, and they came back with a recommendation for a preferred site in the report. But I just want to take a minute to thank that group. I thought there was a lot of good, healthy discussion, and they come up with a good recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments to the resolution? I'd also echo the Vice Deputy Mayor's thanks to the members of the committee. This is, there's a great deal of complexity to this decision, as has been made very clear, and a lot of moving parts. And I think that the committee's work and council's request of the committee is in an effort to clarify some of that work and try to make the best decisions possible. And so I certainly appreciate the committee's work on that front. So you've heard the resolution. I'll ask all in favor. It's carried. And we have motions and notices of motion, and we do have a motion, and it's been moved by the Vice Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Mayette. Whereas the Committee of the Whole recommended at their October 15th meeting that the decision to select the site for the aquatic recreation facility be made at the October 28th council meeting. Whereas Council has received the Aquatic and Recreation Facility Ad Hoc Advisory Committee report dated October 28th, recommending a preferred alternate site location should the Saugeen Shores Community Complex not be the chosen site, and whereas the preferred alternate site has great potential but has additional costs associated with the acquisition, development, and ongoing maintenance of the property in comparison to the Plex site, and whereas the information report dated October 15th, 2019 answered 9 questions regarding the project and the proposed site, and whereas the Director of Community Services staff report dated October 15th, 2019 recommending the Plex site as the preferred site was based on previous consultants' recommendations and confirmation that the Plex site can adequately accommodate a future aquatic and recreation facility, now therefore be it resolved that Council selects the Saugeen Shores Community Complex as the site for a new aquatic and recreation facility. Questions or comments? The mover, the Vice Deputy Mayor.
Yes, I can speak to this then, and I've gone on record making comments along the line that I think the Plex site maybe is trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. I think I voted 2 weeks ago to oppose the site. I think it was only fair that we heard comments back from the ad hoc committee that was looking at other alternative sites outside of the Plex. We did that, and I think the committee did it well. And tonight, I'm here to say that I'm going to support this location. I guess I'm concerned that with one of the alternative site, and we're talking about on 10th concession, bringing that into the settlement area or rezoning that property could take anywhere from 3, 6, 9 months. We can't wait that long. It's not the only reason. Making my decision, I've been assured that from staff and by the consulting firm that 280 parking spots are available here. There are 300 parking spots available in Owen Sound at the Family Y, and comparable space for the building. And I don't think we should jeopardize that $15 million grant. The application deadline's fast approaching. $15 million provincially, federally is a lot of money, and without that funding, we could very well be back here, right back to square one, talking about what size facility we're going to build and where. So we'll get that application in, I suppose, and hopefully be successful come spring. So, Mr. Mayor, it's sometimes you have to assess. These decisions aren't easy, and sometimes you have to go back and reassess and think about the decision you made previously. And I think we've got some new information now that it would cost a lot of money to develop that other site, the preferred site that the ad hoc committee come up with, and assurances this site is big enough. We need to move this process along. So my motion's on the floor, and hopefully there's enough support to carry it this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments, Councillor Schreider.
Thank you, and through you. I also 2 weeks ago voted to defer this decision so that we would have all the information. I've said that I will educate myself and make sure that I know as much as I possibly can before making that decision, and I think that staff has done a tremendous job of answering we had several questions, a lot of questions, and also that the ad hoc committee that was developed did their job with the other site analysis. 2 weeks ago, I also spoke about the decision making and separating my heart and my head in how to make those decisions properly. You know, I don't necessarily agree that the municipality should be in direct competition with existing businesses. I do think that our existing businesses do have roots in the community, and they offer experiences and amenities that their current clientele and new clientele that's coming to the area, that they will prefer those ones over another model. I have said and still say that I'm not 100% sure that the YMCA is a right model for Saugeen Shores, but what I do know is that we need a pool. I know that we need a track, and I know that we need gym space. And if the business plan and staff and consultants are telling us that this is the way that we can get that, then I can't justify risking a $500,000 or $700,000 deficit on the municipality keeping aquatics underneath the umbrella, underneath the municipal umbrella. So I do share concerns that have been emailed and voiced, and I think that some of the concerns, or a lot of the concerns, will be discussed with the formal agreement, and I hope that council has a role to play in that, because there are several concerns with regards to some of those things. But I think that this will be the council to decide about the pool, and this will be the council to decide about the location, and I hope that this is the council that gets a shovel in the ground and gets this thing built. So thank you.
Thank you. Further comments to the resolution? Councillor Mayette.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I too would like to echo the sentiments of Councillor Schreider and the Vice Deputy Mayor on the process that we've been through, and I think that the decision that we're about to make is the right decision, I hope. And it just goes worth saying that the alternate locations that were considered, take away all the other factors, there were significant additional costs associated with those other locations. And when we're talking about a project of $20 or $30 million, every couple of $1 million is really important. And also the efficiencies that are going to be gained by using waste heat from generation of the ice machines. There are two significant factors that, to me, tilt it in the favor of the Plex as the proper location. Are we going to have parking issues? Are we going to have potential conflicts with external businesses? I hope not, and I hope that if we do, that we find a way to reconcile those. But I will be supporting this motion as selecting this Plex as the preferred site. Thank you.
Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Similarly, I want to echo the same sentiments. 2 weeks ago, I, much like my colleagues, was in opposition to this decision. I think what's palpable in this room right now is that this is a very difficult decision for all of us here. What I'm basing my decision on this evening is the statement that was made and voted on earlier, that staff be directed to begin developing a formal agreement. So what that means to me is that a number of the concerns that were shared, particularly those addressed in tonight's delegations, can be and will be met by our staff and by members of council to ensure that those concerns that are raised by members of our community and members of groups within this community, that we support them and we support what they stand for, and we want this to be a made in Saugeen Shore solution that works for all.
Thank you. Further comments? You can see with these decisions why previous councils have not made their way to completing this project, because there's a lot of things that are difficult things, compromises and whatnot, that you have to make around location and other things to get it done. But we do need to get it done, and I think we have the best plan here to get it done and to get shovels in the ground on this project that the community has needed for a very long time, for as long as I've been here, and that's getting to be quite a while now. So I think that as we have said, that we want to be the ones to get this done. I know a number of you came here with that as your objective, and this is the clearest path to doing that. So I'm eagerly going to support this resolution. I want to thank the Vice Deputy Mayor for introducing it, and thank Council for all the work you've done in the last number of weeks to try to get to a place where you can have a project that we can support to and move toward the funding that we will need. And it's important to be clear as the community listens to this, that we require a significant amount of external funding to make this project happen. And the only way for us to achieve that is through funding applications like the one that we're considering, or that we have already approved, moving forward with. So it's essential that we put together a plan that is as bulletproof as possible to put forward for that funding, so that we can have a shot at approval, so that we can finance the construction of this thing, because the holdup has always been money, bottom line. And if we don't have the money, we don't build the facility. So so this gets us there, gets us a solid application, as solid an application as we could possibly build. And that gives us the best chance of success. And so we'll, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that we will have that success and we'll be able to move this forward. So, you've heard the resolution. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. So that moves us on to bylaws, and we have 2 bylaws, 3 bylaws actually, and the confirmatory bylaw is actually included in my resolution, although it's separate in the agenda. Does any member wish to draw one of these bylaws out for individual consideration? No. The Deputy Mayor.
Just a question about the bylaw 81 2019. Should we pass this, when would we be looking at the moving of the bus location?
The clerk.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. I did talk to the landowner today. The bylaw and the information report before you authorizes some amendments or revisions to the agreement. I have confidence that we will have a signed agreement this week with the landowner, allowing the buses to be moved thereafter.
Okay, I'll read the resolution and we can take any other questions after that. It's been moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Schreider. The following bylaws are hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed and sealed this 28th day of October 2019. 1/80/2019 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 63/2015, being the bylaw to govern the calling, place, and proceedings of meetings of the Corporation of the Town of Saugeen Shores, and 2/81/2019 being a bylaw to authorize a site plan agreement with 1281963 Ontario Limited, and 3/82/2019 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meetings of the Corporation of the Town of Saugeen Shores. Any questions or comments to the resolution? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Finally, I have a resolution moved by Councillor Schreider, seconded by the Deputy Mayor, that this regular council meeting of October 28th, 2019 hereby adjourns at 9:18 p.m. All in favor? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.